Good morning, good morning, and welcome everyone to Just Talking Business. I am Stephanie Van Bark, and I am a small business owner. This is a small business owners podcast. So we hope all small business owners are tuning in because today is going to be a really good show. I met this young lady a couple of weeks ago, actually, at my hairstylist, and we clicked. We clicked probably because we know the same people in this entrepreneurship ecosystem, but have never met ourselves. And so I immediately asked her, would she come to the show? Her industry is the hair product beauty industry, which is I'm always curious about that industry. So without further ado, we will bring on Miss Conchita Pleasant from Nefertiti Secrets. Hello, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Hi, Stephanie. How are you?
Great. Thank you for agreeing to join me today.
You're welcome. You're welcome. My pleasure.
So let's start with who are you and what do you do?
Okay, so my name is Conchita Pleasant, and I'm the founder and CEO of Nefertiti Secrets Natural Hair Care Products. And this brand is based on ancient Egyptian beauty secrets that were discovered during the reign of Nefertiti. And this product line is actually made with a lot of natural remedies that are really great for hydrating the hair, which is an issue for a lot of us, with color treated hair or just in general, dryness can be an issue. So this product really caters to women, and the brand is basically really about empowerment because Nefertiti was the most famous, beautiful Egyptian queen. And so a lot of this brand is to actually empower women, to remind them how amazing they are, as well as to empower them with products that work. Because I've seen a lot of products in the market that, haven't been that amazing. So, the results wise, so that we just kind of add that extra, the extra love into the brand, into the products when we formulate. And so that's what we're all about. We're about quality and empowerment.
Well, it's very interesting. I read your bio. Well, you definitely come from a hair care products background. I believe, if I read correctly, you were an executive at L'Oreal at one point, and have dealt with a lot of hair care products. And you mentioned that this comes from a lot of remedies that were recognized in the Egyptian culture. Did you do the research to prepare to create this brand, or was these trade secrets that you knew in the cosmetics?
Actually, so yes, I work for. It started off with Carson Products. Was acquired by L'Oreal, and the brand was Dark and Lovely. I know you remember Dark and Lovely, right? So I worked with them for years, for about good 10 years, building their different brands that they acquired, and it really taught me a lot as an executive. I had a lot of responsibilities, but what really, and I built a lot of equity into these brands because I'm really passionate about actually whatever I do. But really, what really motivated me to develop my own brand was because I was, doing so much of the building other companies' brands, and I saw that there was no loyalty, and so I decided to. The vision came to me years ago because I had done research on. Actually, had done a bio on Nefertiti, Queen Nefertiti, and I was like, oh God, this will make a great brand. But so I didn't really know exactly how to start a business, of course, because I was always in the office. I was an executive in the office. And, I said, okay, my personality is just a little bit too big for these walls. I need to break out. And so when I got in the industry, I was really interested in how to start my own, but I just had no idea. But when the vision really came for this brand, I knew I had to do some real research, and I actually bought books, and that's what I recommend. As an entrepreneur, if you're interested in starting a brand, or starting a business of any kind, make sure you do your research. And like I said, I bought books to find out ancient Egyptian remedies, natural remedies that they use for different. Most of the remedies that they use were mainly for skin, because with hair they had lice. A lot of them had lice. Now the royals did. Some of them had their own hair, because even the mummies, you can see that they had like hair, and
Mhm.
so a lot of them did have, the royals kept their hair because I guess they had some remedies that they used to ward off the lice. But I did do the research, and I found out one of the main ingredients that's in our products is called moringa oil. A lot of people don't know about it, but moringa oil was actually discovered in King Tut's tomb.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's what. And then they use aloe, and the moringa for them was used as like they had like formulas on hieroglyphics. They would call them recipes,
Right.
and they were actually for skin. They were actually for like wrinkles, and moringa was in several of those. So that's
So you took
documented.
that component and transitioned it into hair product.
Exactly.
Did you do that in your kitchen?
Actually, no, I didn't. In theory, it sounded great. I was like, okay, this sounds like and so I started really researching the actual, the seed and the actual herb, and it's amazing. I take moringa every day. You got to research it. It's amazing. It's a superfood. In Africa, they feed a lot of malnutrition, people with the actual pot. It looks like an okra. So check out moringa. It's amazing. But the actual seed has like vitamin C, vitamin A, and the thing I like about this oil, it's a very expensive oil. That's why some of my products might be pricey to some people, but hey, we're worth it. You know what I mean? Oh yes. So with that being said, the moringa actually penetrates into the hair shaft and even into the skin. When you put it in, you don't, it just dissipates, but you can feel your skin being soft. So I said, this is really good because we don't want things that weigh our hair down. You want your hair to look amazing without the weight, without the clammy feeling build up. And so that's one of the reasons why I use that ingredient.
Okay.
So that's one of my secrets, guys.
I know. I was going to say, she put all the secrets out there.
It's okay. That's what I'm here for.
Well, we didn't want you to like lay out all your recipe secrets, because the core of this business, this show is really about pivot plan and entrepreneurs who have had to go through this really trying experience we all just got out of. And what I think I'm very interested in is, many months ago, I took a workshop where we were talking about businesses that survived during recession and things of this nature. And beauty always seems to be that thing that makes it over the hump. And as I was just doing my research, the black hair care product, just black hair care, was trending like 1 trillion each year. It's projected to do 1.5 this year. So like, how do you do it? And that you personally, how do you feel like this industry continues to be so strong under every circumstance? And do you feel like that was the same for you personally?
Okay, so to answer your first question, during the pandemic, actually, my business it kind of, I would say, I definitely had an increase. I had an increase online.
Right.
So that was the key. It's so funny because I had, wanted to try to shift my business towards the online, because that's always great. And it wasn't really doing that well online. I was making traction within the stores, because I'm in a few chains here in Florida. Elegant Beauty Supply is one of them. But online really is what saved us. And then, you know what? I did. I had one the Elegant actually had a few stores that stayed open during the pandemic, which was great. And let me tell you, that helped us to get through it. That really did.
What is it about the beauty industry, in particular the black hair care industry, that just, no matter what, we seem to figure out a way to continue to grow that business? What do you think?
Well, you know what? I think that there's a transition that has taken place, with the natural hair movement. And that's really the segment that's driving the business right now, is the natural hair on the ethnic side, right? The issue here is people are searching for good products. People are really searching for good products. So they're buying a whole lot of products to try to maintain their hair. And this particular industry is doing so well because people are consuming products And a lot of times they're not getting the results. So they're trying different products, and sometimes they get stuck on a product that they think is doing well for them, but they, so it's always like this search for that. And we like to look good. We like to look beautiful. And I think people are really trying to, remember the weave is actually not doing as good as it was, back a
I
few years
find that interesting. Yeah, I find that
Yes,
very interesting.
because you know what? People are trying to embrace their natural hairs. They're seeing more, we're seeing more images of us with
Right.
wearing and embracing our natural hair. And so people are trying it, but a lot of people are going back to chemicals because they're having a hard time. And that's why this business does so well, because people are just continuing to, try to, and it takes a lot of product to maintain the hair. And
I've
so,
run across two of my friends now who have gone back to the relaxed style. Probably because you're right. It is a challenge to keep your hair looking good when it's natural.
and it's a little expensive, it can be expensive when you're, constantly having to purchase products over and over again to try to, and then the time that it takes to put in there, so that's why I think that this business and then another thing, with people being with the pandemic, people were doing their hair at home more, right? So opposed to going to so that segment, and that brings me to why the brand started off professional. It started off professional in salons, and we're in hundreds of salons currently. We're still selling to salons, but we're not exclusive to salons.
Okay.
So we pivoted to the consumer,
Right.
and so now we're looking at the retail side of it, focused on the retail side of it. I actually rebranded a few years ago to position it to be to cater to the consumer.
Did you? This was prior to the pandemic. You did that.
Yes.
And what
Yes.
made you make that transition?
Well, with business, you have to always be conscious of kind of being ahead being ahead of everybody, especially as a small business. And so I'm always planning ahead, and also you want to keep you want your brand to look fresh and clean and up to date. So I had my packaging was outdated. And there were some things I needed to tweak, and that's what's important as a business entrepreneur. We have to constantly. Sometimes, we look at failure is a part of the journey. We might think of it as a bad thing, but actually, it's not. It's not so much. We don't need to stay focused on the actual failure. We need to focus on the lesson, right?
Right. And this is your chance to make that pivot.
Exactly. And then also, researching what needs are there, because there are a lot of needs out there. When I go to trade shows, I see people walking around and I'm like, come on, you serious? Like all these products out here and your head looks like this? And that's not to be, but the point I'm making is we have all these products out here. Are they not working? You know what I mean? Like, are they not delivering? Because I just don't understand it, because we go the extra mile to make sure these formulas work.
Right.
And that's important. So, you have to make yourself stand out as an entrepreneur, as a brand. And so that's why I did that to be ahead of the game.
Well, so I'm also intrigued by the Black hair care industry, because it's really sort of in its infancy stages in terms of really having Black-owned operated businesses producing hair care. I guess the first would have been, if I know what actually I guess Dark and Lovely might have been an example of the first, or so it's sort of, I still consider it sort of in its
actually it wasn't Black owned, and it's still not Black owned.
Really? Okay. See?
No. Dark and Lovely was actually owned by he was Cuban, yeah,
okay.
and sold to L'Oreal. So
okay.
But I love where you're going with this. I'm listening.
Maybe Carol's daughter, I guess then I could start with, is sort of started that explosion of all these products, which is interesting to me because it seemed like finally the beauty industry looked at that and looked at some makeup lines and said, there is an actual African American audience out there that wants to buy products that's specifically for them. So
Yes.
it's been really fun to kind of see how that's been ebbing and flowing.
Mhm.
So what have you learned during this transition? Because it seems to me you have been sort of a part of that curve. What have you learned? What are some things you feel like you still need to learn in this business with no real history, or you're in the middle of the history that's being made?
Right. So, it's a blessing to, be able to offer, as a African American woman, to be able to offer my queens amazing products. This business is, 100% Black owned, and I plan to keep it that way. And I think that's important. It's important for, for our people to actually cater to each other, and do it in excellence. And so that's what I'm all about. I'm all about offering amazing, because see, I believe that we are queens, and so with that, I have to make sure that my queens are good. I have to make sure that you all have the best of everything. And so that's my driving force. That's my passion, is to make sure that, I'm offering amazing products that actually deliver the results that my consumers are expecting, right? And so with that, I'm always I feel like that's the thing that makes me, that's why this brand stands out, and that's why I'm always a little bit I try to be ahead. Now, I feel like I'm doing a decent job, but I also, sometimes I'm hard on myself. I feel like I'm behind, because I have some amazing products, and what drives this business is new products, right?
Right.
But sometimes you can do too much. Like, there's companies that just have too many products,
Yeah.
just doing too much,
Yeah.
and they confuse the consumer. But what I think is that I take my time to develop like amazing products. So it might take me a little longer, but I know once I finish, the finished product is going to be something that is going to be um, probably a number one seller.
Right.
So that's how I do it.
Like, what have you put in some quality control processes to make sure your product meets these standards before they hit the market, and then you're sort of saying to yourself, okay, I've got this line of 7 products, it's time for me to stop, really push this, and then decide what I want to do later? How or is that kind of a feeling for you?
What I do is, I assess the needs of the market, and and I see I see what's trending, right? And then I'll see what's trending, and then I'll actually, sometimes I even try it and see the product work. And I'm like, okay, can you see? Okay, it's like this screen.
Yeah, it's frozen,
Stephanie?
but I still hear you. There you go. I see you.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
So what
We
I
had
do is, I want. Can you hear me? Okay,
yeah,
Stephanie. Oh,
yes,
okay,
I
because
can. Do you hear
it's
me?
kind of delayed. I do, but
Okay,
it's delayed.
Okay, but I hear you.
Okay. So as I was mentioning, though, like, how I do it is I just kind of I assess my brand and see what products that are missing that
Right.
a consumer would more than likely want. And so with that said, I'm gonna be launching another product really soon. So let me tell you, I pray. I'm sorry.
Was it the
No,
one
actually,
I
the one you tried is this one, and that's the one that is already selling. That's the curl definer. But the one that I actually have in my hair, I literally woke up and did nothing. I woke up and the hair was like this.
Very nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Very
So
nice.
I'm thinking, I think you're gonna like it a lot. I'll make sure you get some.
Okay.
But and that's what I do. Like, so I'm looking at my line. I said, okay, so I know that there's some missing, some products that I think would be really that would really complete the line. And so I'll start working on that. And if I get to a roadblock, I'll maybe stop and start working on a new product.
Okay.
And I'm looking at it. You have to like with my business, you have to have good chemists, good manufacturers. So, that's always a challenge. And that's with any business. You have to have good team players, really amazing players.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really involved in that process because I'm not a chemist, but I've worked closely with chemists, and I also I'm very analytical, so I look into things that they wouldn't even think about, and I help them make amazing formulas.
Cool. Very cool. Was this the first time during the pandemic you had to pivot, or have there been other circumstances in your life or in the industry that has forced you to change how you're operating and the products that you're developing?
Yes, definitely, for sure. There's a couple of times, oh gosh, when I first started, I had the hardest time because, I didn't, it's important to learn, all aspects of your business. Even if you don't actually do them yourselves, it's important to know it and to not be so dependent on other people. And that's what happened the first time. I was just so scared because I had a chemist that really, he did everything and I didn't know how to do anything. And then he started producing products that were separating, just having real quality issues. Oh my gosh, it was horrible. And I actually had them on the shelf. I had distribution. So I had to pivot and I had to start all over. I had to fire him, first of all, and then start all over. So that was really difficult. But everything happens for a reason. It taught me to learn how to do a lot of things on my own and not be so dependent, and at least have the sources myself. He had the label people, the everything. So I was just clueless.
Right.
Starting over, I said, okay, I'm going to do this totally different, and I had to find a new manufacturer, new chemist to work with, and I got back on my feet, and then I started with a new packaging, which still wasn't quite what I wanted, but it was the best I could do at that time, right? And then I started selling to the salons, and that was to get the brand back, to get the credibility back. Brand, right? Because he had. So I just did started with new formulas, and actually went into the salons and started selling and started doing well. But then I noticed that, like there was a cap to my income every year. I'm like wasn't growing. I wasn't growing at all. And so that's when I had to pivot again. That was in 2019, actually, like right before, 2018, 2019, right before that. 2019, I launched my my curl definer, the one that you used recently. And so and your hair looks amazing. And that product is doing amazing. And so that's the key. You have to learn from your mistakes, and you have to tweak your plan. Sometimes you don't have to abandon the plan, right? You just tweak it and try something new. And that's what I did. I revived the brand.
That's really, I'm glad you actually are sharing that, because I think a lot of people, I've talked to a lot of entrepreneurs right now who are after the pandemic are reassessing a lot of, should I be doing this? I've done it in the mirror. Should I be doing this? Should I go get a job? But I feel like being an entrepreneur is in your DNA. You're going to want, if you are an entrepreneur, you're going to do this on a regular basis. So to hear someone say, we failed, but we learned our lesson, made our adjustments, and now you are where you are.
Yes, I believe in brush yourself off and try again. Oh yes. Okay, I don't listen. Failure is like, that means nothing to me. That's like, okay, cool. So this didn't work out. Let's try the next thing. And another thing is too, a lot of times there's money sitting right there waiting for you to grab it. And we just haven't tapped into that market, that wherever that stream is at, we just need to tap into it. For example, social media is like, it's free.
Right.
It's free, right?
You're really good at mastering using social media to really build an audience. So.
Let me tell you, you could never tell me you couldn't have told me I could do that. honestly, because when I first, and thank you, I appreciate you acknowledging that, because I don't really acknowledge it yet. I mean, I think I'm okay, honestly. I think I'm okay, but I guess I'm doing something right, is what I say every time I say, I guess you're doing something right, Conchita. But that's because what I do is, okay, so I'll be honest with you, Instagram is not easy. And in the beginning, I really did not I hated it. I hated Instagram. I said, this is crap. I don't know why we're even doing this, right? So I'll be like, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So I kept going, and then I even hired someone, and I learned a little bit from her, and then I took it over. And I was like, okay, because she got more expensive, and I said, okay, let me just do this myself, because when you're not in a position to pay out money when you're trying to grow your business, and sometimes you just can't do it. And so I started doing it myself, and I just started trying to get better at it, and I never stay the same. Like, I always try to evolve in what I do, and I pay attention to the trends. Like, for example, right now you have to pay attention. For example, Instagram is trying to push their platform Reels.
Right.
They're a business, so you have to think like the business thinks. What are they going to do? They're going to incentivize you for posting Reels, because they look like they're the experts at it.
Right.
Opposed to TikTok, right? Because TikToks are supposed to be like the Reels, top platform for Reels.
Right.
So what I did, I said, okay, so they're letting that go through, because they shadow ban, and so I started playing around with the Reels, and I started getting some traction.
Right.
I said, okay, you see, so and so sometimes you're like, okay, well, do I have content? But you have to figure out what content works, what content is driving business to your page. What content, right? You might not think you have content, but if you put a video together or something like that, you never know what will happen. Exactly. So I just try things, and that's what it is. I'm not afraid to try different things. Sometimes I'm not the best at getting in front of the camera. I think that's probably one of my downfalls, is I don't get in front of the camera more. And I think as entrepreneurs, that's something we need to do more, because people buy more of you than they do your brand.
Absolutely. It's really hard when you're behind the scenes and you're trying to keep the babies out there.
Yes.
Like, oh my God, I forgot it.
Right. But the thing is that, like, look, you have like a dynamic personality. Like, when I met you, I was like, oh my God. Like, I felt like I knew you already, right? You saw how I was talking to you. I was like, please, like, we've been hanging out for years, right?
Right.
So that's your energy, so we have to share that energy with the world, and also let others see who we are, the person behind the brand. What is who's driving the brand.
That's true.
Because a person who's passionate about what they do, when you can relay that to your consumer, I think they'll be more willing to try your brand, or to listen to what you have,
I agree. What your product is. And by the way, how we met was at our mutual friend, who is my hairstylist. She was showing off her new products, which I've had your conditioner, believe the
right, you had this one, the leave-in.
Correct. For a while. I was using that because I bought it from her. And then we used the gel that you just showed, and I love it. I'm gonna be honest. I love it because my hair stays. This was done last Wednesday. And the curl pattern is still very defined. So as time goes on, it gets fuller, of course, which I love. I like it.
Okay, yeah, big hair. Big hair is the thing. I mean, listen, I'm trying to get there. I keep coloring it. It keeps falling out. I'm like, oh gosh, got to start over. So my hair doesn't really care for color, but no, I love your hair. And I'm so glad, you got the chance to experience it, because there's so much out there that doesn't work. And, so funny, because I hear people saying, oh, I'm a product junkie. And I'll be like, could it be that you're just buying a lot of junk?
There you go.
Is it that you're a real product junkie, or is it the products that you're buying they're not up to par,
Mhm. Mhm.
And so I know my queens get tired of spending money on products that don't work. And so I try to offer them, and they might be, for some people, they might be a little pricey, which
Mhm.
I don't think they are. But because when I pay for things quality, I pay for quality. So
And if
when
it
you
does a
take
good
the,
job and it lasts a while, it's worth it. The only challenge I would say, and I think most
yes,
of the young ladies like me who are in this natural space is, can I do this at home? Because how I look when I leave my hairstylist is completely different. And I wear a wash and wear style that I haven't been able to master yet. So you're
right.
like, is it the products? Is
Oh,
it
I
just
know.
me? What is going on?
Well, it's a lot of hair to manage on your own. You know
Uh-huh.
what I mean? So it is a lot of hair. And if you're not a person that's good with hair, like you're not used to touching your hair, or you don't have the time, it's a lot.
Right.
It's a lot. Like even this little bit of hair right here was like, it's that's like, okay, wow, I gotta touch
I
this
gotta do
and do
something
this.
crazy.
But let me tell you, when you have amazing products, like you said, if you do it that one time, and see how if you can work it, because like you said, you have to go through and you see how she was raking it through your hair.
Mhm.
That's very, very time consuming when
Right.
you have a lot of hair like yours,
Uh-huh.
you
It
know.
is.
But there's different ways to do it too, and I suggest like going to the stylist and say, hey, what can I do at home? Can you show me how to do a few things at home so that I can, because sometimes you can even twist that hair up at night. You could spray the leave-in on it, and big
Okay.
twists,
Okay.
half of the head, six here, six here. I'm talking about twists, right? And when you open them up, you'll be surprised at what you get.
Beautiful. I love it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna try that. I'm gonna try that. But I'm gonna
And
say,
YouTube is helpful too.
uh-huh.
YouTube is helpful to find out ways to do, because the thing is, we don't want to. Sometimes we want to be able to do our hair, but we don't want to take the time to learn. So, if you just hop on there and just catch something, it might be not even take that long to figure it out. You know
Okay.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And also Pinterest. Pinterest
Yes.
is very good.
Good. Yes.
Yeah, it's
So
good.
I read on your bio you are a mentor. So what are some of the first tips, I guess, you would advise an entrepreneur in particular in your space? Because you're in a manufacturing space where
Mm-hmm.
it's usually a little more money in terms of investment.
Oh, a lot more.
And
Because you do a
when you
large quantity.
consider the chemistry for the product itself, plus the packaging, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, what are some tips you would say to an entrepreneur that is in that manufacturing space as if they want to get started with creating the product that is their passion project, what should they do?
Okay, so first, I'm a mentor for young, not so much entrepreneurs. I would really mentor young girls. I'm really uh, right. I don't really have a lot of time to do that, but I have a few daughters that I've mentored, and helped them in their journey in life and becoming a young adult, young woman. So I love that because, I get to pour into them and actually teach them some valuable lessons and help them to make good and wise decisions, and because sometimes when you're young, you don't have that guidance.
I agree.
So that's where my mentor. I don't really mentor entrepreneurs because I really definitely don't have time to do that. But I know, to answer your other question, in terms of getting started in this type of business, see, it is so much. It's so much. Really, it's a lot. But I think if you have a vision and you have a product that you want to produce, first of all, I definitely say do your research. Okay. And you have to really dig in to find something, a niche. You can't just come up with the same thing that's there. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
In your product that's different. Um, it has to do something different. It has to add value, and it has to meet a need, right? So those are the things you have to look at when you're trying to launch a product, when you're trying to start a brand. And so once you find that out, you have to, of course, you have to start searching for good names. You have to trademark. Make
Yeah,
sure you trademark. Yeah. So my products, my brand Nefertiti Secrets is trademarked. And that's worth a lot, you know what I mean? So no one can come and infringe on your brand. Then you have to start really I must say I kind of had an advantage in the sense that the key to this business is distribution, right? In most businesses, I mean, distribution is everything, right? Because who's going to buy it?
you can't get it out.
Exactly. So before you can really get a product out there, you have to market it, right? Because even if you get it out there, it has to move. So it's important to kind of do them simultaneously. You know, you have to do the marketing part. And then I would say that start small, start small and start maybe with me. The advantage I had is that I had a business that I started that I was actually a distributor for another brand that I would buy wholesale and resell.
Okay.
So I was already selling to salons.
Okay.
Right?
So you already had those connections in those.
Right. Because the main thing is that you have to have a door to sell your product. But here's the other thing, like if you don't, and then it's still with the producing, you still have to, if you have to do thousands of units in the beginning to mass produce, who's going to buy that product?
Right.
You know what I mean? And it has a shelf life. So it gets tricky. It really, really does. And even if you sell online, you got 2,000 bottles sitting there. What are they going to, are they going to fly off the shelf? You haven't done any marketing. You know what I mean? So I think the best way to do it would to be like innovative and start making a few items yourself, right? On a smaller
distribution chains first.
Right. And then because the distribution part is very difficult. Very difficult to get into the space that I'm in with even with Elegant Beauty Supply. Oh God, that could take a year. That could take a year, because they don't want to take a brand that's not going to move.
Yeah.
They don't know anything about your brand, so why should they bring it in? So that's why you have to create the demand organically. Okay. And so that's important. You create the demand.
Okay. Then really make that.
Right. And even if you can get somebody to make the product on a smaller scale, that would be good. But if you can get someone to make it on a smaller scale, make sure you make small samples and give them out and see what feedback you get. Because I tested. For me, it took me a year to come out with this one product. This was my first product. I was battling breast cancer at the time. Wow. Right? Going the day after chemo and with the chemist saying, let's go. Let's go. Stop it, right? Right. And so, that's a part of my passion. I don't give up when I believe in something. And so, it had to be amazing before it hit the market. And then once I got it great, I was like, okay, how am I going to sell this product? Right. And so I did it. You have to go out there and knock on the doors. You have to, whatever your door is, and if it's a salon, you go in there, you introduce and present it, or whatever your brand is. We're talking specifically to this brand, but it depends on who you're marketing to. If it's not salons, you need to start doing videos, using the product. There's things that you can do, but the whole thing is to create a demand for your brand. Right. Okay. You can do the mass production part, but then who's going to buy it? Right. Exactly. Exactly. Sit there. Yeah. You're right. So you have to have a door. You have to figure out what door you want and how to approach to how to get it. It's really a difficult space. This is not an easy one. I wish people would tell me straight up, and it's not to discourage anyone, but to be honest, do you know Shea Moisture, right? Yeah. They were selling their products 20 years before they got on the shelf. Really? Out of his truck, out of the back of his trunk. That's hilarious. In New York, yes.
That's
That's
hilarious.
a story I didn't even know. I was like, wow, this brand, how did they? So it takes years to build a brand, but it can be done. It's not something that can't be done.
It just, you got to have the patience and the determination to make it happen.
Exactly. And if you know, so like another thing is if you're kind of like a cook, some people cook up their own products. Like how you asked me, did I make it myself?
Right. Right.
Now I hand blend my oils. I do it myself because I don't know. I just have this thing where I want to touch it and I want it to make it amazing for my queens. So I don't want anybody else to do it. So, and I come up with that. I kind of pray and meditate and come up with what ingredients I want in my oil.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it comes to me, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm doing. And I actually hand blend it myself. That's the most I can do. So I'm a little hands on. Look, I'm a little hands on, but I'm not a whole lot hands on. Because
Right.
this product, I don't, you have to have a chemist. You have to have a manufacturer for that.
Right. Right. Well, before we leave, I want to say thank you very much for hopping on, because I recognize you are a small business owner, which means you're probably busy 24 hours
Welcome.
a day. I
Pretty
can
much. Go to bed late, wake up, you know how it goes. I love it though. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah. You know what? I feel like when you find your place and space and your niche, as you mentioned it's not work anymore. It really is
It's
just your
not.
daily passion and your daily drive. It's a challenge, but you
It
feel
is.
the love for what you're doing. So
Exactly. And you know what? I think, like I can look at you and tell that you're a people person and you like empowering people you
yes,
with information and you like to, and so I love that about you. And that's why I came on the show. Okay.
thank
Because
you.
I'm like, you know what? She's real and she wants to help. And that's who I am. And I think that resonates in your brand,
I
who you
agree.
are,
I
you
agree.
know?
I
And
agree.
so if I can leave any nuggets for anyone, good customer service, just caring about the end, um, the end result shouldn't always be to gain money, monetary. It shouldn't always be monetary. It should be about who are you helping? How
Mhm.
do the people feel? When I get testimonies, people saying like, recently I've been getting, because we hit 1.7 million on TikTok.
Okay, yeah, look at
Yeah,
you.
and I got a viral video on Instagram as well. You see,
Okay,
so that social media does pay off. You see that all this time I've been talking about it. And listen, I wasn't being nice to Instagram. I'm like, this is okay. I see what y'all doing over here, but that's okay. I'm gonna keep going, right?
and it made it happen.
Yes, exactly. So that's my advice, to keep going and put your passion behind it, right? Because if you put passion behind something, and like, to back to what I was saying, I got testimonies, people saying that they were so hesitant to buy the product, but they said, thank you so much for making this product, because I've never seen my curls actually
Yeah.
define and pop like this. And so thank you so much. And when I hear that, that's enough. Like, okay.
Okay.
I'm like, you know what? I do it for you guys. I'm not selfish. I'm not holding back. Like, I want your curls to pop too, because sometimes when you have these secrets, you're like, let me see, do I want to share this? But yes, I want to share it because I want everybody to have access to amazing products, especially my queens, because that's what we deserve.
Yes. Yes. Well, thank you. Before you go, tell us how we can find you, how we can find your product.
Okay, so you can, my website is nefertitisecrets.com, and that's nefertitisecrets.com. And you can purchase, we got 30% going on right now, so grab them while it's hot, okay? It's hot right now, too.
I'm glad you said that, because that means I need to go buy. Don't tell me
Yes,
I want to
at
buy.
30% off, okay? Exactly. And then if you're local like you are, you can grab it from Elegant Beauty Supplies.
Okay.
Elegant, and when you go to the website, you can also go to our partners page. And then there's also a map on there, and to show you can put in your zip code and find out where's the closest location.
Okay.
And we're also expanding nationally. So we just started that process. We just got a really major distributor to take the brand in.
Oh, yeah.
And they're in Chicago. They have like warehouse. They have 10 warehouses. They're actually the largest in the country.
Okay.
The largest distributor in the country for ethnic, well, multicultural, ethnic, whatever type products you want to call it. But they're really going to be, I think they're going to do amazing with the brand. People have been really asking for it. So that's where you can find it. Instagram is also at Nefertiti Secrets. Please follow us. Support. We appreciate your support, and we hope that we can bless you with these products.
Thank you so much for joining us again today. You heard it here first, all of the secrets from Nefertiti.
Yes. Yes.
These are the business secrets.
I hope I answered everything you needed, that you.
No, absolutely. And, we're going to stream this again to YouTube on Thursday. But we thank you again so much. And if you're ever doing anything exciting, let us know. We'll share it with the audience.
I will. Thank you so much. And you're doing an amazing job. Keep it going. I love you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Right.
Have a good
day. Okay. You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, so everyone, thank you for tuning in today. This has been a great session. We learned a lot about hair products, but we also learned about the industry itself, which I'm going to continue to be intrigued by that industry because it is so important, and it's been so much fun to watch really how that industry has evolved, especially for someone like me, a Black woman. Thank you. Tune in again next week with Tuesday. We will have Retha Boone Fye and Elizabeth Moss from Healing Leaf Miami Inc. They're going to tell us a little bit about the cannabis or the CBD business. So we'll see you next Tuesday, 10 a.m. and have a great day, everyone.